Welcome to Fishbowl Sports, everybody. My name is Chief here, and joining me today is Jalen. Nice long vacation you had, Jalen. Thank you for joining us back here on Fishbowl Sports.
Hey, it's great to be back, Chief. Was on a little vacation and then just took some more time off, but hey, I'm back to it.
Hey, I'm glad you're back, man. It's been going crazy over here in the world of sports, especially for the Raging Cajuns, and just having to deal with. Everywhere I look, there's lawsuits and there's fights and there's people getting suspended. I'm glad you're back, man, because ever since you left, all hell has broken loose across all of the South Louisiana sports, basically. Which is basically an understatement for sure here if you really want to talk about it. But let's talk about this here for a good bit here coming into this game here. So suspensions were handed down. Okay, why is this thing popped up? We're not talking about no hardwood here for no. Yeah, I don't know why that popped up there. So anyway, so let's talk about this brawl that happened because this is gonna be part of the review here, obviously. Um, so we put out an article and digging through the footage. I've looked at different viewpoints and I've looked at it, you know, just based on the amount of suspensions. 13 different players got suspended in that game there, from both sides, from both Texas State and the Cajuns. It's just kind of like wow, like I didn't expect to see that happen. It was at the end of the game. There was a punch being thrown toward the end of the game with like a minute something there. And looking at the NCAA rules and what the bylaws say, what the bylaws were telling everybody was the fact that number 0 for Texas State. I can't think of his name right now, but we're going to use number 0. I'm not going to throw anybody's name under the bus because, I mean, he's suspended for 2 games. He's suspended, not for the rest of the season like Tyree Skipper is. But this is going to bring up, this is going to be part of one of my favorite segments that we kind of started doing here is let's talk about it here real quick here. So cue it here. I'm going to pull this up. Here is the hot sauce. Sunbelt officials failed to keep the game under control. Okay, so NCAA bylaws say if you get an unsportsmanlike penalty twice in a game, you get kicked out, you get ejected. That's part of the rules and dictated as such here. So if you look at the bylaws and stuff, he threw a punch. Okay, there's nothing that specifically mentions punches in the game there, but wouldn't that be under the unnecessary roughness penalty that was called? He should not have been in the game, period. He should have been ejected when that first punch was thrown because you're trying to incite, obviously, violence. You're trying to, assault other people, right? He threw a punch. Now, granted, there is video out there of one of the Cajun players swinging their helmet around and hitting other people. I condone that. That should never happen in any part of any situation at all. But if we're looking at it from the NCAA bylaws, the refs did not do their job. He should have been ejected at that point there. If he would have been ejected at that point there, that brawl might never happen because he was involved in the brawl too. And that started there. Now, granted, if he'd have been ejected, would that brawl still have happened? Would it not have happened? I have no idea. But I think it would have diffused the situation because people don't want to get suspended or they're afraid they're going to get ejected in the game and be out for the next game. Now, granted, because usually people back off usually whenever stuff like that's happening there. Now, granted, not everybody on Texas State was fighting or the Cajuns was fighting. Now, if look, the Cajuns, I seen them even throw punches in the, in the scrim that was happening there. So let me go show y'all a video of what footage that we got of the scrim from our angle that we saw there. Let me go pull this up for y'all real quick here. I have to throw this thing down. I keep forgetting there's 2 sliders on this thing. So yeah, look here. This is still, let me go play it for y'all real quick because it's on our website here. But yeah, this is it here. This is what was going on here. So I think this was kind of like I didn't get a good vantage point of where this was on the other side here. You see that like there's obviously like extracurricular activities going on that that shouldn't happen there. This is kind of like toward the second part of it there. You get to watch it again here. You see like kind of toward the middle. It looked like it was kind of somewhat dying down by that point there. I mean, it lasted for about 25, 30 seconds. I was walking up towards the deck, the little concourse area. And then I turned around and they're like, oh, they're fighting. And I'm like, turn back around. Just pull my phone out and get a shot at it real quick here. So if you're watching this on Facebook, you're not going to see this, but you can watch the video on Facebook and on our Facebook page. So looking at this here, Jalen, what was your reaction whenever you heard the news of the fight breaking off like here?
My reaction was, Chief, why are they even fighting to the Texas State where it did get ejected? The escalation of it, I felt like wouldn't have been as we see it right now in the video. But hey, that's just my opinion. But the Cajuns won the game fair and square. Texas State lost. Instead of the Cajuns being able to celebrate on their home field, this is what happens. I mean, and you see the video here, Chief, and thankfully you were even able to even catch this because I bet you didn't realize that this was going on until toward the end of it. But it's uncalled for. This shouldn't be happening. There was no sportsmanship shown on both sides, I would say, but it definitely was started by Texas State.
Yeah, because okay, let's play devil's advocate here. You think if they would have ejected, if he would have been ejected in that 1 minute, it was like 1 minute, and don't quote me on the specifics of this. We have this in the article. I've been writing that article and I still can't remember the stuff. Like a minute, like a little bit over a minute left to go in the game with the unnecessary roughness penalty that happened in the game. You think if he would have been ejected at that point, Jalen, do you think this even happens?
I think
is it more of a symptom, or I think sorry, something, or is it a symptom of the 13-0, 13 straight losses that Texas State has to the Cajuns?
Yeah, I think, well, yes, that does play into it as a rivalry, but I think since they got so much time left in the game, if you got ejected, the refs would have been like, hey, we're not tolerating this, so nobody else better do it. And I felt like that it wouldn't have escalated and got this far had he got ejected, and the refs would have they would have implemented their authority in the game and said, hey, you're out, anybody else do this, we're not tolerating it. And I feel like this wouldn't occur. Or they would have had a better grasp of it, and they could have gotten under control before this escalated into what it did.
Look at Davis and Klotz in the back there, just kind of chilling. That's where you should be, boys. That is a lesson right there. That is a perfect way of like getting out of the way. I know that's your buddies, and look, Dad said it best. It's kind of hard to back down from somebody that's willing to punch you. Like, throwing those punch at you. You got to right clock, right? I think that's kind of a phrase, right?
I mean, if somebody punches you, your first reaction is to get them back. Your first reaction is not to be like, oh my God, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I understand where the players are coming from.
Yeah, I completely get it, but I'm okay with you defending yourself. I think that is a very good point. Like, that is a natural human reaction to a situation like that. You're going to punch back to defend yourself. Now, that doesn't mean you take. And look, man, if you want to be a man about it, take your helmet off and fight somebody, bro. Look, everybody in there. Not everybody got their helmet. Well, I see some. Is that a coach or? Yes, the coach is not all the way. But yeah, dude, y'all got your helmets on, bro. It's not a real fight. Take your helmet off and throw some punches, man. Don't swing them helmets around either. That's not cool. That's something I condone completely.
I think trying to throw punches with helmets on is so ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense. You're trying to break your hand or something?
Take the helmets off, man. Let's get some not only one or sleeves on, and then we're gonna fight somebody. That's just a big coward move, honestly. Leaving your helmet on, But maybe that
And
might be a
then,
thing. Like, cause look, I see some Texas State players that were running back to the pile, and they put their helmets back on. Like, I didn't really notice that when I was watching my video back. Like, watch, you'll watch it when you play it back here. Let's see. Look, see, 34 and 9. Watch, look. They put their helmets, but 17. Yeah, they're all putting their helmets back on. Look, 34 did, but 17 and 9 did.
but look at 9. Look at 9. He's trying to get into it. Like, why are you even playing that?
And see, 0 was the one who threw the first punch right there. That's him right there. Like toward the end, that bottom left corner you see there toward the end. I don't know who he's at in the beginning part of this video. Really. Just watching this video, I'm just playing it back. I think he come from the right side. Let's see. I see. I don't know if there's 0. I don't know where 0 even shows up at. I'm trying to watch this thing. I do have one regret when I shot this video. I should have kept it wide. I should have zoomed in. I should have just kept it wide. And I hate myself for it because I can't really I mean, that was where the action was at, mostly, from what I could tell. Okay, look. I'm trying to see where he comes in. Like, I don't... Like, he just shows up there. But, I mean, there's so many, like, white jerseys all around there that you really can't, like, pick out a single number. You see 0 anywhere, Jan? I see 10.
Yep, I see 10, yeah.
I'm trying to see if he sneaks up in there. So he had to come in from the left side because he looked like he's walking straight back there. Yeah, because he was the one that was instigating it during the game. That's where I think the point where he shouldn't have been on the field at all. Here, I'm trying to see if he's on the left side there. He might pop out the left side of that pile. Yeah, he's definitely from that left side. He comes from the left side of the frame. They must have some more fighting going on for the left side. That's why I should have kept it wide. Because I would have been able to see what was going on there. Heat of the moment, guys. You know, look, I lost my videographer pool in that moment. Yeah, I didn't. You see, yeah, he coming from the left side. So yeah, there was more skirmishes on the left side than what I was getting. But look, that's just part of it, though. I mean. You see, like, we had a comment from Josh saying they tried the same against Marshall, Texas State. Okay. So, look, and, you know, I've seen that from several Sun Belt fan bases, just on the forums and from the groups that Fishbowl is a part of. They have a history of doing this here. And, I mean, it's not like the Sun Belt can really punish them. Like, what you're going to do is suspend the rest of their operation for the season or whatever. I mean, they're going to the Pac-12. I mean, it doesn't really... but I don't think they should... Well, whoever was swinging the helmet, which, you know, Tyree Skipper is suspended, though, the connection there would probably indicate that might actually be him that was swinging the helmet and stuff. But I don't think they should suspend it for a season. Maybe 2 games. They go by L's here. Whatever that situation... The officiating crew should be the one that should be getting the thing, because I think they literally led this to happen right here. I think Keith Gill got that part wrong. I do agree with the suspensions on both sides. I do think but not for the season for Skipper. I think he should have been out 2 games. I think season a little bit harsh. He is a 6-year senior. He lost his cool in the moment, you know. Obviously, there. Especially, like, if you're not going to suspend the guy for the rest of the season that started it, then, I mean, Skipper was out there trying to finish it, trust me.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. But for the whole season, I just don't agree with that. And then the bowl game, too, did they just get one?
Yeah, because this is his last moment. This is literally, like, what we're watching right here is his last moment of the game. I appreciate everything he's done for the program. I do think that they did him dirty on that one. I think Dad said that he was going to try to appeal it. That was from KTC. I saw that being reported.
I mean, because you just took out one of his leaders on the defensive side of the ball.
Not only that, you lost a good chunk of your secondary.
Oh
two
yes.
from their like three of the like starters in their secondary is gone for this game against Arkansas State. It's gonna be coming up, which we'll talk about more about it next week. But Arkansas State loves to throw the ball. They got a very good quarterback, so I'm just saying that it's going to be a very problematic problem for the Cajuns in the next week or so here. So how will they respond from this? This could unite the Cajuns because you got to win two games to be bowl eligible. So we're going to move on and talk about more about the bowl eligible part of this here as we go back on camera here. They so they have to win these next two games to become bowl eligible, and that is a big issue for the Cajuns. Can they do it, or is it going to be too much for them to be able to handle it? That's part of the issue that they're going to be having here. So, um, I really don't know. I really don't know what to expect with that there because it's going to be tough on them to get that going there. So, I think it's just it's a tough situation here. I'm worried about the Arkansas State game. I'm not going to lie to Cajun Nation. I am worried to death about it because you look at the stats between both those teams and it'll tell you everything that you need to know there. But on the flip side here, I'm a little bit excited about how the basketball team is going. Now, granted, I know that they lost last night to Tulane. We were there. It was a very fun game to be a part of. They kept it close. And this is a new team, and they're trying to gel together. And that is something we're gonna have to deal with until but like literally, I've said this before off camera, and I'm going to tell y'all because I'm very transparent about how I think about things here. The Cajuns can lose every single non-conference game and just do enough to qualify for the Sun Belt Conference tournament. You could be the last seed in there. If you go on a run and win that whole entire tournament, you make the NCAA tournament.
Yep, that's facts.
So it doesn't matter if we win here on out for the rest of the games. It really doesn't matter. Our goal, if the ultimate goal is to win a national championship for anybody, or one of our biggest goals is probably win the conference. I did predict this basketball team to win the Sun Belt here. That is something I did predict here, and that was my hot sauce take for the preseason of this here. Well, they're going to be playing Mcneese, so that's going to be a rivalry going down Lake Charles on Friday night here. So Jalen, what was your initial thoughts with this team? We go through three games of men's basketball so far.
I think that they're starting the season off well. Now I know they've lost two games, and especially a close one against Tulane last night. But I still like the way this team is gelling, and Coach Quanis is still trying to get his lineups right. Because if I'm not mistaken, at least in the last two games, he's had a few of the same guys starting, but he's had like two or maybe one uh different starting lineups, I would say, when it comes to like the forward positions. So I think he's trying to see what his best lineup is. He's trying to see what players are going to gel together. And I think they're doing great so far. Now, can they improve a little bit more defensively? Absolutely. And can they still shoot better as a team? Yes, absolutely. But you're talking about a brand new team, which is brand new with a brand new coach, and they're keeping these games close. And like you said, if when this team is gelling and against the conference play, we're gonna have to watch out because they're gonna be good. And this Jackson Alvera, I mean, he's putting up points like it ain't nothing.
Yeah, he had 19 points last night for the Cajuns over Tulane. So they were winning by the half. I mean, 1 point. And they're 3-0 right now. So I mean, they're not no slouch team that the Cajuns lost to. Looking at the big stat, what lost the Cajuns the game was free throws. Tulane was shooting over 70. They were shooting like about 77.8% from the free throw line. Cajuns were shooting 52.4%. So that right there tells you everything. I mean, if you go look deeper into the stats, they just made more points. If you give the Cajuns the majority of those free throws, they win the game by 2 or 3 points there at the end. So, I mean, like, look, if you literally put the percentage of Tulane right there on the Cajuns, then a couple of more free throws, that's it. I mean, that's the big difference in the game here. Cajuns outshot Tulane beyond the arc here. Cajuns were shooting 30% beyond the arc here. They did out rebound Tulane there. They had less turnovers, had more steals. Cajuns were very good defensively because they held Tulane lower than what their normal average score was for those the first two games they played. So that is a positive sign to say the least here. I think we learned a lot about the Cajun team on there here, but I do think they did have Jammer Keller. He was injured. He was in a boot. I saw on the sideline over there with the men's basketball. So you lost one of your starting point guard there. So Olvera was mostly the one bringing the ball down the court and handling the rock for most of it there. Laverne added 11 points in that game there. So it's um, let's see. This is a quote from Quantas White after the game. He put, Jammering was hurt in practice yesterday. He tried to go at it, shoot around today, but wasn't able to. I was really proud of the way Milan came off the bench and played for us tonight. He really gave us a spark that we needed. So they had a 5 point deficit, entering that last 1 minute and 2 seconds in the game, and used a 6 point spurt to get the lead there, which we have like them taking the lead basically into the half there at the Cajun Dome. But I do think this team has a lot of they're very good defensively. I think the offense is going to come, but I do think they need to work a little bit more inside, outside. But this seems like a pretty good 3 point shooting team so far. I like my 3 point team shooting about 30% here. But the field goal on the floor, they only shot 36.2% there. The credit to Tulane, they did a very good job defensively against the Cajuns in that game there, which they did what they had to do. I mean, it's hard to say that. Look, they did a terrible job, but I think the Cajuns. I mean, they gave them everything they could do there. So I think in that situation there, whenever you look at this game if we're going to look back on the season here, I think Tulane's going to be a very good basketball team this year. I mean, Ron Hunter has been at Georgia State there most of his starts, and Kiwanis White, he coached at Tulane for a little bit there as an assistant there. So there's a lot of familiarity with this matchup here going into yesterday's game. So which divert our attention to Mcneese now. How you feel about the game against Mcneese coming up?
I definitely feel great about it, Chief. I think this is the McNeese 18 post Will Wade era, and I know they've been to the tournament, won the Southland. They've been playing great ball, and I'm not saying the new coach isn't doing his thing, but I still think the Cajuns, even with the new squad that they have, they are able to compete with McNeese, and ultimately, I think they can go to Lake Charles and come out there with a win.
I like the way you're thinking about this here. I think that Mcneese is 2-1 so far this year, but their two wins to give
Yeah,
them credit
talk
to
about them.
was so you're gonna probably laugh at me for this one. The College of Biblical Studies, that's one, and Champion Christian College. They lost to Santa Clara on the road. So I mean, they go expedition win against Grambling if you want to throw that in there, but they haven't really you know dealt with the Cajuns too much here. I wonder if they play the Cajuns again. This one's on the road. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, this they don't. So this is the only time they play the Cajuns this year. Um, After the Cajun, they go to George Washington, Murray State, in Middle Tennessee. I don't think that kind of the idea here. So College of Biblical Studies. To be honest, I have no idea where that's at. They don't even have a link to their thing. I can click on UL's, I can click on George Washington, but the College of Biblical Studies. I mean, they played. I don't know. I don't know anything about that team. I'll be honest, Fishbowl Nation. I have no idea what the College of Biblical Studies is. This champion of Christian College gives you a website to go to. Nothing with the College of Biblical Studies.
Okay, I looked it up. They're in Houston.
They are in Houston. Thank you.
In Houston.
So yeah, look, you can go to the other one. They at least have a website, and look, I'm okay with it. But though, back to my point, these wins don't really show me how good of a basketball team Mcneese is.
Hmm.
If we're looking at Warren Nolan to pull up the Cajuns here and see where they're going to be, their live RPI ranking is going to be, which, I mean, we're not going to really expect anything crazy right now because the predictor is still getting, information put into it. is probably going to pick Mcneese to win, even though, I mean, Ball State was a good ball club and Tulane's been a good ball club for the Cajuns here. Right now, 267. It's going to probably get them losing to Mcneese. I would be shocked if it didn't because they're going to have probably better RPI. It's got them losing to Mcneese because Mcneese has an RPI of 67, which makes sense. I mean,
I understand it.
I expected that, but I think Cajuns end up winning this game against Mcneese. I think defensively the Cajuns I understand it. I completely understand where this predictor is coming from because it's only interpreting data that you put into it. Whenever you don't have a lot, it's got the Cajuns going 10-20 this year, but this team's better than a 10-20 record is indicating with the predictor. I do like doing the predictor because whenever it gets down to conference record, it is a lot better resource to use. This is just a way just to kind of get everybody kind of on board and train and kind of be like, all right, look what we got going on here. So their strength of schedule right now is the non-conference. Well, it's 222 regardless, all the way through here. But I mean, you look at the Sun Belt. Southern Miss is 0. A lot of these teams are 0-2 here, like on Warren Nolan. Now, granted, Warren Nolan is not completely accurate in terms of records because non-Division One teams, it thinks it's like an expedition game and it doesn't count, it doesn't show up it doesn't populate into their system. So these records are off for some of these teams here. So just bear with me here. But you look up and down at the Sun Belt, there's not like a lot of winning teams going on there. I mean, I think Troy might be unbeaten. Arkansas State, I think, has one loss. So yeah, there's kind of like trying to like look at what's going on here. So if we go look at the Sun Belt Conference standings here for men's basketball, once we go pull all that stuff up here, you'll be able to get an idea of what we're going to talk about here. So looking at, let's go pull up this sport here real quick. Look at these standings here. But like we said, Cajuns could, South Alabama is undefeated. Troy's undefeated, both at 3-0. Marshall is undefeated themselves, 2-0. Crystal State's got a loss. But looking at, let's see like Troy's played. Kent State, Furman, and Pensacola Christian. And they had an overtime win against Kent State. So, I mean, that was the MAC, which the MAC is not a great basketball conference regardless. I need to know what kind of record Ball State has, but UMass and Toledo from Marshall, they got both their games there, a 6-point win over UMass and Toledo. They had a 12-point win over them there. So looking at that there, usually we're going to find out more as we go through the games and do the Sun Belt Conference. But I think the Cajuns need to work on the free throws and just getting a little bit – they need to get some offense going here. I think that's the way it is here. Some shots, the Cajuns are rushing the shots here. But I do think I kind of like the idea of like running down the shot clock and shooting it there, but it can be a little bit unpredictable. In that first game the Cajuns played, they kind of just threw it up there, kind of they were starting to run it down more later on in the game here, but they really need the bigs to step up here. Jeremiah Evans has been one that he looks like he's not really like stable down there at the bottom too much there, but I mean, look, tall guy, he does get his rebounds and stuff, but I do think that he could be a very good player to watch on as the games come along, as they start identifying roles and they start like playing more cohesive as a unit. Because I mean, 3 games, you still haven't learned your teammate yet, and I mean, this is a very long season that we've been a part of here. Where I'm going to be at a lot of games this basketball season here, because I'm excited to see what Quantas White is doing with this Cajuns basketball team here. As after Mcneese, they have their next game at home is Jackson State, but they got 3 away games here, which is like on the 18th, 21st, and the 24th here. Stanford, at Santa Clara, at UC Davis is the next 3 there. That's going to be something to see here as we go along further into this basically basketball season. So it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen there for the Cajuns. So, Jalen, let's talk about women's basketball. Look, I'll be honest with y'all. I did not watch the women's basketball game against Texas. I went look at the stats, and because I'm going to tell y'all this right now. This women's basketball team is not a good basketball team. I don't like saying that. I know this is kind of a rebuild year. They lost a lot of players, but man, it was embarrassing out there for Gary Broadhead and company there because they're 0-3 right now. Um, it's tough. It's gonna be a tough sledding for them. Lost Bowling Green, lost to Delta State, and because I did watch the Delta State game, and I felt bad watching it there. They get at Nickel, so that's a get right game that they can possibly go get in High Point as well. But when you got at Memphis and Fresno State, they might even lose the game against Nichols because I mean Delta State and stuff. I mean it's not looking good for the Cajuns here. This is a rebuild year. Like I said the season preview, I didn't expect a lot from this team this year. Um, I think they'll probably finish toward the bottom of the Sun Belt this year. Unfortunately for them, if they keep it up. What you think, Jalen?
Yeah, they. I mean, it's. I don't. I don't want to really talk about them in this kind of way, but it's not great. And I understand they went against Texas. Don't get me wrong, but to get destroyed ultimately like that, they put up 38 points. Texas put 100. They're winless. And they're at the bottom of the Sun Belt right now, as we speak, when you really look at the standings. And it's not going great right now for women's basketball team. You know, I know they have some players that are young this year's teams trying to step it up, but it's just not looking great. Now, can they pick it up? I think they can, but it's going to be tough because over the years, we've seen the Marshalls, we've seen the Southern Misses. Those teams will be at the top and they kind of dominate. And remember that one year where Marshall they either lost one game or went undefeated in the Sun Belt. I don't know if you remember correctly, Chief.
Yeah,
And even then, the Cajuns are in the middle of the pack. So I think it's. I'm gonna be honest. It's not looking great for Coach Gary Broadhead. If I'm being honest with you, they've been in the middle of the pack for the last couple seasons, and now you're at the bottom tier. I don't know. Is it time to look at women's basketball, Chief? What do you think? Like the coaching?
you know, you all need
I
a
don't want.
bright spot. Look,
I hate to bring it up.
like the is the hot seat hot is what your question is here. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, women's basketball, you all's never been like really great. I mean, like, look, here's a little story time I like to tell you about women's basketball. So, me and Mike Honcho, this is probably back. Let me think how many years ago this was. This was about like maybe a decade ago. For the WBI Invitational Championship, they have a banner hanging up on top of the rafters over there, and we were the only. This is whenever I was a student at UL. This is back 2015, probably 2016. I know I'm aging myself here a little bit, y'all. I'm not a spring chicken anymore, but um, we were the halftime performers for that championship game. Yeah, that's a fun
Man,
fact.
that got me. You got me puzzled.
Yeah, so we were the only two students there, and they came up. They're like, "Do y'all want to do the halftime show?" Because they're like, "We ain't got anybody else." I'm like, "I guess I got to, bro." They're like, "Look, if you win, you get like a $25 thing to McDonald's." And dude, that's a pro college student. I was like, "Freaking sign me up, let's go, bro." I was like, "Look, dude, if I was like, look, I'm like, Mike, look, if I beat you or if you beat me, we're just gonna go to McDonald's after this, and we're just gonna just destroy that freaking meal, whatever it was. Because, dude, the prices back then at McDonald's was not near like they are nowadays here, where you get like an $8 meal or whatever it is, and like it's a freaking meal, and $25 went a long way. Let me just say. So I won it was a layup competition. So I beat Mike at the layup competition. After that game, we went to what McDonald's did we go to? I think we went to the one on Ambassador. We went to the McDonald's on Ambassador, and I went up there because I had to use it all in one use. I think Mike had
Oh, okay.
and Mike used his too. So we sat there and we had, I kid you not, Jalen. We all had it was quarter pounders we had to order. I'm like, all right, so guess
Who?
So I have my roommate, his girlfriend, me, and Mike. So we was four of us. We ordered 6 quarter pounders, and all those came with large fries. And we sat in that booth with, and it all came with drinks too. So we spent like $30 to $35 at McDonald's in one sitting. Now, granted, like this was like a big super packed meal that they had here. So there was 6 quarter pounders and like I swear the most fries because it's all large fries. We had like 5 or 6 large fries and we just all dumped it into this freaking tray. And it was like this freaking huge thing of like just fries. It was like the most unhealthiest thing I've ever done in my life. Just like just grabbing handfuls of fries and just putting it in the mouth. It was disgusting. We tore all that stuff up, and that was a. Let me just say, I was in a food coma after that one. Oh man, that look now. If I did that today, I'm dead for like 2 weeks. Just like I
You're
might
laid
not.
out.
I might not wake up. Like
That's
that's
real.
exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what happened after that. But women's basketball, like I always like, when I look up at that banner, I'm always gonna be taken back to that freaking McDonald's after the game where we just destroyed all this freaking food. But, um, women's basketball just not looking too good this year. I wouldn't say go for Broadhead just yet. It is a brand new team, but I mean, like if you like who you're gonna get, like to get a new coach, you have to upgrade, right?
That's
Um,
true. Yeah.
but I mean, you always kind of in a financial, you know, thing going on. There are some rumors about president being named tomorrow for UL, which we will have
Yeah.
that on Fishbowl Sports.
Yeah, I like Broadhead. Don't get me wrong, I really do. But I just
Hey,
know that these teams want to see these athletic directors and head personnel. They want to see winning.
hey, Broad. Look, nothing against Broadhead. He's a great man. Like he's a great guy. I've talked to him before. Great man. But I mean, like the unfortunate part of sports, it doesn't matter how great of a person you are, it's the bottom line is wins and losses. Basically,
Yep. Exactly.
like it doesn't matter. Like you look, it's not if it's not looking good, right? You got to let him go. But I mean, like I don't think he's fireable yet. I don't think he's got some a little bit of rain, a little bit to him here. But
Hmm.
I mean, I think it's like he's probably like his seat's getting warm for sure. I think next year he'll have to really turn around, or unless he just if he has a record like Bob Marlin this year, he might be going this year. I think that's kind of like where we're at with him, in terms of
Hmm.
just looking at everything here, and it's not a good situation, regardless how we look at it here. But I think
Yeah.
they gotta they gotta get some wins on their belt here if they want to see, especially the new president possibly coming in this week here. He might be like
And
legit.
that's huge. That's huge too.
That's the elephant in the room that everybody's kind of waiting to see what the new UL president's going to do here in terms of athletics or who it's actually going to be here. Now, there's a couple of names being rumored around there and their relationship with the athletics and stuff, but um, I'm gonna keep those on the wraps until we get it official for sure and not just whatever hearsay going on here. But um, I've heard the same names pop up too, but I think it's kind of one of those things where you're just kind of wait. It's a wait and see game basically here. Like we just don't know how it's going to unfold here 100% right now. But we're kind of keeping track of it here at the Fishbowl, so we'll see what happens there, and we'll just see. I mean, it's what can it hurt, right?
It's gonna be interesting.
Yep. Anything you want to talk about before we get off here, Jalen?
Um, Man, it's a good question. Hey, I just want to say everybody keep tuning in to women and men's basketball. Um, Cajuns are 2 games away in football from being bowl eligible. So I think midway through the season we were questioning it, but hey, they're a 2 game winning streak, and let's just see what they do.
Yeah, I mean, we can come back and just be like, yeah, if lunch played here, which I did bring up the point that Dez. I don't know if Dez or whoever is thinking about who the starting quarterback is. They don't do a good job evaluating quarterbacks because this is like the second completely different QB grouping that we had. That the third string was the best quarterback that we had on our roster. Like Zion Chris situation. You talk about the um lunch situation here. If they're just better fits for your offense, you got to do what you got to do. If they're a better
Yep.
athlete, I mean, uh, I, I, I know they're trying to get Walker in there, but I just don't think Walker might just not be what's needed for that offense to succeed here. I mean, that's just kind of what it is here. Now, granted, I mean, Lunch has been in the offense for a whole nother year over Walker, so maybe that might be the big difference in that situation because Howard's only in there for 1 year. Maybe next year he might be a lot better player because. I mean, you look at players that make this big jump between year one and year two. I think that's what we're going to have to see with the transfer portal with a lot of these guys here. If you keep bouncing around everywhere, you're just going to keep struggling. I think
Yep. Absolutely.
that's the moral of the because you got to learn the playbook, right? I mean, coaches can't give you a complicated playbook to learn under a year. Like to run complicated plays, know what your dig routes are, or whatever you're going to do as a receiver or quarterback timing with your guys, right? Um,
Absolutely.
like if someone stays there 4 years, you'll know everything you need to know, and that's kind of what I think Desnev's trying to tell these guys. But I mean, look, I can't blame guys that come from poor backgrounds or whatever, and they don't, and they see people throwing money at their way, and they never been, to provide for their family and stuff. I mean, I would take it too, but I mean, it's life. You got to do what you got to do for your family.
Hmm.
Where your situation, only you know your situation more than anybody else. Uh, but back to going like playbooks and stuff here. It takes time for these guys to learn it. So maybe next year Walker might just have a blow up and have a massive season that we know that he's a rated prospect, a highly rated prospect to do so. That's all I gotta say for tonight. Thank you for tuning in here to the Fishbowl Sports. Hope you have a great and wonderful day. We'll see you here next time here on Fishbowl Radio. Have a good night, Fishbowl Nation.